Russia has a number of military academies of different specialties. This article primarily lists institutions of the armed forces of the Russian Federation rather than those of the Soviet Armed Forces. Russian institutions called academy are postgraduate professional military schools for experienced, commissioned officers who have the equivalent of a bachelor's degree. Upon graduation, officers receive the equivalent of a master's degree and, if trained in military leadership, are appointed as battalion commanders or higher from Lt. Colonel and up. Graduates with non-command training are appointed to various staff positions equivalent to major or Lt. Colonel. Commissioned officers can study on the candidate and a UK level, equivalent to a Ph.D. degree. This research-oriented degree is required for faculty positions in military schools and defense research institutes. Carefully selected experienced researchers in military academies hold limited-term positions as senior scholars, leading to the prestigious postdoctoral doctor and a UK degree, which is roughly the equivalent of a habilitation at Central European universities, where it is a prerequisite for full professor positions in institutions of higher learning. There also are a number of officer commissioning schools for various services known as higher military schools or institutes. As of 2010, a major reorganization of Russian military officer education, spanning the range from General Staff Academy to Officer Commissioning School, was underway. Military Academy of the General Staff. Previous names include Marshal Voroshilov Military Academy of the WPRA General Staff of the Armed Forces of the USSR, General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. In 1936, Leonid Gafoor founded the current General Staff Academy in Moscow. It has been the senior Russian professional school for officers in the late 30s. The best and the brightest senior commissioned officers of all forces are selected to attend this most prestigious of all Soviet military academies. Students are admitted to the academy in the ranks of lieutenant colonel, colonel, and major general. Most colonels are newly promoted generals. Military academies of the ground forces. The precedence and grouping of these academies are drawn from Michael Holmes' site. M.V. Frunze Military Academy. In 1918, the Frunze Military Academy in Moscow was established as the Academy of the General Staff, which became the RKKA Military Academy in 1921. It is named after Mikhail Frunze, then USSR Minister of Defense in mid-1920s. It is roughly the equivalent of the U.S. Army's Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, or the British Army's Staff College, Camberley. Officers in the late 20s up to 32 years at the rank of captain or major enter if they pass the competitive entry examinations. In the 1930s, higher academic courses were added to the Frunze curriculum as an advanced training program for previous graduates. Later on, this program became the basis for the Voroshilov General Staff Academy, and the Frunze Academy refocused upon combined arms ground warfare training at the tactical level. As of 1979, within the academy are chairs of operational tactical disciplines, Marxism, Leninism, history of the CPSU and party political work, history of war and military art, foreign languages, and other subjects, and scientific research sections. The Frunze Library had about 2 million volumes of books. In September 1998, the Frunze Academy and the Malinovsky Academy were amalgamated into the Combined Arms Academy of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, on the site of the former Frunze Academy, which since 2010 is known as Military Educational and Scientific Center. The Military Educational and Scientific Center has been the site of a number of Russian-Western joint military activities, including an ISS conference in February 2001, a new Russian exercises. After graduation from Military Educational and Scientific Center, every graduate officer receives a diploma and a silver diamond-shaped badge which has to be worn on the right side of his uniform. A civilian clothes above all other military civilian decorations are ribbon bars. As of 2004, the commander was Colonel General Vladimir I. Popov, VI Lenin Political Military Academy. The Lenin Military Political Academy specialized in training political officers for the Soviet Armed Forces, and until 1942, political commissars for the armed forces. After a number of reorganizations, it was in 1994 merged with the Military Institute of Foreign Languages and the Armed Forces Humanities Academy into the Military University of the Ministry of Defense of Russia, which offers cadets various courses and postgraduate studies. Marshal Rodion Malinovsky Military Armed Forces Academy. Malinovsky Military Armed Forces Academy was established in 1932 in Moscow as the J.V. Stalin Academy of the WPRA Mechanization and Motorization Program. It was named after Marshal Rodion Malinovsky in 1967. Its mission was to train Soviet and Warsaw Pact commanders, staff officers, and engineers for armored and mechanized units. The best qualified graduates were selected for the Centralized Operations Division of the General Staff. Students entered as captains and majors, some as lieutenant colonels, about on an intermediate level with the Army's Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and the Air Command and Staff College at Maxwell, AFB, Alabama. Commanding and staff officers underwent a 3-year program while engineers were taught for 4 years. In 1998 the Academy merged with the Frunze Academy to become the Combined Arms Academy. Mikhail Kalinin Military Artillery Academy. Military Artillery Academy. Grand Duke Mikhail Pavlovich Mikhailovskaya Artillery Military Academy in St. Petersburg dates back to 1698. In 1849 it was named Mikhailovskaya after Grand Duke Mikhail Pavlovich of Russia. In 1925 it merged into the Red Army Military Technical Academy, was restored in 1953 as Kalinin Artillery Military Academy as a spin-off of the Dzержinski Academy, and in 1995 went back to the Grand Duke's name. Marshal Alexander Vasilevsky Military Academy of the Armed Forces Air Defense Branch. The Vasilevsky Military Academy of the Army Air Defense Corps was created in 1977 in Kiev as a spin-off of the Kalinin Artillery Military Academy. It was named after Alexander Vasilevsky. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, this institution's Kiev campus evolved into the General Staff Academy of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which became the National Defense University of Ukraine, Ivan Chernyakhovsky, from 2013. In 1992, most of the staff and cadets moved to Smolensk, and the Smolensk Higher Engineering Radio Electronics School of the PVOSV became its current home, and it adopted its present name in 2007. Military Engineering Academy named for V. Kuybyshev, located in Moscow. This military academy trained medium-rank commissioned officers for the engineering troops. Its full formal title until 1998 was the Military Engineering Order of Lenin Red Banner Academy, named for V. Kuybyshev. After the 1998 merger with the Military Engineering University of St. Petersburg, it is now called the Combined Arms Military Academy of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation Military Engineering Forces Institute. Marshal Semyon Budyonny Military Signals and Communications Corps Academy. Budyonny Military Academy of Communications was created in 1932 in Leningrad. It is named after Semyon Budyonny. It trains the Russian military's future signals and communications experts. Marshal Semyon Timoshenko Military Academy of Engineering, Chemical Defense and Control. Timoshenko Military Academy of Chemical Defense was established in 1932 in Moscow. It is named after Semyon Timoshenko. Its duties are for the training of officers and NCOs in chemical warfare and defense. CRU, for the expanded study program of this academy today. It is located in Kostroma in Moscow Oblast and has now opened its doors to engineering cadets as well. General of the Army A.V. Krylev Military Academy for Logistics. The Military Academy for Logistics was created in 1918 in Leningrad. It trains officers and NCOs for the various armed forces rear services and the Army Transportation Force, a part of the rear services. One of its graduates is Igor Levitin, a former Russian Minister of Transport. Sergei Kirov Military Medical Academy. The Kirov Military Medical Academy, Russian, in St. Petersburg was established in 1798. Senior medical staff are trained for the armed forces and conduct research in military medical services. By contemporary standards, it is a full-scale medical school complete with a network of teaching and research clinics and affiliated hospitals. Graduates are commissioned as officers with medical doctor credentials. The institution also provides advanced training for mid-career military medical doctors and trains graduate students on the Ph.D. level. Military schools, institutes of the ground forces, MOD etc. Kuyabyshev Military Medical Academy. In 1939 a military medical academy was established in Kuyabyshev, since 1991 renamed Samara Military Medical Institute, subordinate to Ministry of Defense for a period. Moscow Military Commanders Training School, established on December 21, 1917 as Moscow First Revolutionary High Composite School. This school trains the future officers of the Russian Army in strategy, tactics and command skills, with a 4-year study period for which graduates are commissioned Russian Army lieutenants. The school's cadets are also known as the Kremlin Cadets of the Kremlovsky Corps. In December 1919, after just 2 years of operations, the Red Army took over the school administration, with headquarters and campus then at the Moscow Kremlin. It later became the WPRA First Soviet High Military School All-Russian Central Executive Committee, and from 1925 to 1935, mounted the guard at Lenin's mausoleum. The Kremlin was its campus until it moved to Moscow's Lefortovo district, giving way to the Kremlin Regiment, nowadays the President of Russia's Escort and Historical Regiment. In 1937, the school became the ACEC Moscow Military School and later the Moscow Military School of Infantry Training. It received the first of its 3 order medals, the Order of the Red Banner, in 1938. In joining the Battle of Kharkhin Gol and the Second World War's Eastern Front, it contributed to the defense of the Moscow region, as well as other wars. In October 1945, 5 months after the Allied victory in Europe, it moved to Kosmenki district in Moscow. In 1958, it became the Moscow High Command Training School, Supreme Soviet of the Russian Socialist Federative Soviet Republic. It received its 2 other awards, the Order of Lenin in 1965 and the Order of the October Revolution in 1978. In 1998, it became the Moscow Military School and was transformed into its present name in 2003. Khabarovsk Military Commanders Training Academy. This training center in Khabarovsk, 19 miles from the Chinese border, serves military officers stationed in the Eastern Military District, with a program to enhance their experience and command capability. St. Petersburg Railway Troops Military Transportation Institute, located in historic St. Petersburg, the birthplace of the Russian railway industry. This institute trains all personnel of the world's oldest railway security force, the Russian Railway Troops, a part since 2004 of the RIA services, in maintaining and securing one of the world's largest and oldest railway systems. Rodion Airborne Senior Command School, General of the Army Vasily Margalov. The Rodion Higher Airborne Command School is one of Russia's oldest military academies, having been established in 1918. The academy serves since 1941 as the premier staff college and advanced training center of the Russian Airborne Troops, named first in honor of the Komsomol and at present after one of the greatest commanders of the airborne troops, Vasily Margalov, who was instrumental in the modernization and capability upgrades done to the service in the 1950s, as well as for its full independence as a separate arm directly responsible to the Defense Ministry. St. Petersburg Military Engineering Technical University. In Soviet times this was named the Leningrad Nikolayevsky Military Engineering Technical Institute of the Armed Forces of the USSR. Nikolayevsky Military Engineering Technical Institute of the Armed Forces. Now the Military Engineering Technical University is in St. Petersburg, located in its own historical sites near to Engineers Castle, Summer Garden, the Suvorov Museum, Tauride Palace and Smolny Convent. It is one of St. Petersburg's oldest military engineering schools. Its history as a higher learning institution began in 1810, training officers for service in the Navy, Russian engineering troops and other arms and services. This engineering school trained and graduated Fyodor Dostoyevsky. Ekaterinburg Force Command School of Artillery, located in Ekaterinburg. It serves as the officer command training center of the Russian ground forces, artillery and rocket forces. Its mandate is for the enhanced and improved training of artillery officers in command and control. Vols High Rear Military School, located in Vols, the school trains the various personnel of the Russian Armed Forces Rear Services. St. Petersburg Military Academy of Physical Fitness, Culture and Sports, established in the 1930s as the Leningrad Military Academy of Physical Fitness, General Staff of the Armed Forces. The academy serves as the training hub for military sportsmen of the Russian Armed Forces. Its graduates include many medalists in the Olympic Games who were also active servicemen, and medalists in the Military World Games. Field Marshal Alexander Suvorov Moscow Military Music School, a spin-off of the Suvorov Military School. It teaches future Soviet Army and Russian Army military musicians and conductors and is famous for its corps of drums. A participant in the Moscow Victory Parade of 1945 and a regular participant in Revolution Day, Victory Day, and until 1966 May Day military parades. The corps is led by a drum major. The corps's instrumentation includes snare drums, fifes, trumpets, glockenspiels and during occasions, bass drums, tenor drums and fanfare bugles. A Turkish crescent from the school was used as its symbol in the Revolution Day and Victory Day parades from 1975 to 1990, later replaced in 1995 by the school's color guard squad carrying the school's regimental color. It also has its own nationally and internationally famous training band wing that perform in various military tattoos in Russia and various European countries. Other ground-associated officer commissioning schools. These included the Leningrad, Orenburg, and Poltava Higher Anti-Aircraft Missile Command Schools of the Ground Forces, and the Smolensk Higher Anti-Aircraft Missile Engineering School. Also the Kharkov Guards Higher Tank Command School, plus Tashkent, Ulyanovsk VTKUs. Military academies of the missile forces. Peter the Great Military Academy of the Strategic Missile Troops. The academy descended from Mikhailovskaya Artillery Academy of Imperial Russia, created in 1820 in St. Petersburg. Dzerzhinsky Military Academy was created in 1932 as F.E. Dzerzhinsky Artillery Academy of the Red Army from the Artillery Department and the Powder and Explosives section of the Military Technical Academy's Chemistry Department that was disbanded at the time. Dzerzhinsky Academy was moved from Leningrad to Moscow in 1958, the year before the Strategic Rocket Forces were formed. Now named the Dzerzhinsky Missile Force Academy, its main facility was located at Kitaysky Priyezd 9/5, within a block of the Rossiyu Hotel off Red Square. Other sources report that it was in the historical building of the Moscow Orphanage. Officers in command positions in the strategic missile troops would seek admission to this academy. Information about this academy was highly classified. Its two major faculties were command and engineering. The academy was renamed after Peter the Great in 1997, and its commandant is now Colonel General Yuri F. Kirillov. Military academies of the Air Forces, Air Defense Forces and Space Forces. Yuri Gagarin Military Air Academy. The Gagarin Military Air Academy is located at Monino, northeast of Moscow, in an area closed to foreigners, nearby the Central Air Force Museum. Almost all the senior officers in the Soviet Air Force have attended this academy. It is charged with the preparation of command cadres of various aviation specialties and is a research center for working out problems of operational art of the Air Force and tactics of branches and types of aviation. Part of the mandate involves developing new techniques in the operational use of the military aircraft. Marshal Leonid Gafoor Air Defense and Radio Engineering Academy. The Marshal of the Soviet Union L.A. Gafoor Air Defense Radio Engineering Academy was first established in Moscow in 1941 as a subsidiary of the Frunze Military Academy, and then moved to Kharkiv in 1946. This graduate school trained commissioned officers of the Air Defense Force in radars, aerospace defense and surface-to-air missile sites, and command and control and communications facilities. Its graduates were granted an equivalent of the Master of Electrical Systems Engineering degree. Also about 50 officers were annually graduating with a candidate and a UK degree. Of the total of some 300 faculty members, more than 10% held the prestigious postdoctoral doctor and a UK degree. Faculty members were highly engaged in applied research. Their textbooks and research publications were known throughout the Soviet Union. This school was reorganized into the Kharkiv Military University of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in 1992, soon after the collapse of the USSR. According to the Ukrainian Cabinet of Ministers Directive No. 433, the Military University and the Air Force Institute combined to become the Kharkiv National University of the Ukrainian Air Force. Marshal Georgy Zhukov Command Academy of the Air Defense Forces. See Zhukov Air and Space Defense Academy. Nikolay Zhukovsky Air Force Engineering Academy. The Zhukovsky Air Force Engineering Academy, named after Nikolay Yegorovich Zhukovsky, was founded in Moscow in 1920 to train engineers for the Soviet Air Force, as well as lecturers and scientists for military colleges and research institutions. The main facility of this academy is located on the Leningrad Prospect, immediately across from the Moscow Central Airfield. Course of instruction length is 5 years. In addition to being an institution of higher learning, it also is a scientific center for working out problems in the areas of aviation technology, its maintenance, and combat utilization. Since 2008, the Gagarin Air Academy is a part of the school apparatus, and both have become the Gagarin-Zhukovsky Military Combined Air Force Academy, with its Moscow main campus retained. Alexander Moshaysky Military Space Academy, also in St. Petersburg. This is the academy responsible for the training of the future officers and NCOs of the Russian Aerospace Defense Forces, the Armed Forces' youngest branch of service. It was most recently renamed the Military Space Engineering Academy in November 2002. Yaroslavl Air Defense Rocket Training School, located in Yaroslavl. This academy trains officers and NCOs of the air defense component of the Russian Air Force in proper treatment and handling of air defense rocket, artillery systems. Other air-associated officer commissioning schools. Shelton lists a total of 140 officer commissioning schools, drawn from KZ list of 17 January 1980. That total included 15 Air Defense Forces schools, and 24 Air Forces. The Kharkov Higher Military Aviation Command School of Signals, 5 3-year technical secondary schools, 6 Air Force Engineering schools, and the Kurgan Higher Military Political Aviation School. Military Air Combat Training Centers. Russian, Zentriboyevogo Primanenia I Perushivania Likno Gosostava. These centers do a great deal of scientific and technical work in mastering new aircraft, equipment, and air combat tactics for the Russian Air Forces. Center of Frontline Aviation, Lipetsk Air Base. Center of Air Defense Aviation, Savaslayka. Center of Naval Aviation of the Russian Navy, Ostrov, near Pskov. Center of Long Range Aviation, Diaghilevo.